So usually I'm the guy behind the board mixing the track, not usually building it from scratch. I don't really consider myself a producer like that, but today we're flipping it. I found this plugin called Motion Fractal, and from what I've seen, it's supposed to turn basic loops into crazy sounds and textures with barely any effort. So I figured, what if I threw a few boring sounds at this plugin and let it do its thing? Again, I'm an audio engineer. I don't really consider myself a producer, but feel free to flame me on this beat in the comments below. But the first thing that I did when I was making this beat is that I pulled up a one shot and then I just drew in a few notes, and then I got this sound right here, and this is with no processing on. This is just a plain loop with a simple one shot right here. Alright, cool. So you get the point of that. So that's the loop that we had right here, but to add to this loop, that's when I threw on this plugin called Motion Fractal. So this is the plugin right here, and it may look a little bit daunting, especially if you first open it up and you're not really too sure what it does, but I'm going to show you a few things in this plugin. Once you start playing with it a little bit, it is very simple to grasp. So over here we have our hexagon right here. So they call it a hexagon because, as you can see, there's these 6 white dots total, and then these are basically parameters that you could link to the right side to automate. Again, it's gonna sound a little bit technical, but don't dwell on it too much. I'm just gonna play with it a little bit within this video so you can see what that looks like. So what this plugin basically does is it adds granular effects, and then it also has a transgate and a repeater, and then also a reverb inside the plugin, so you could achieve some really nice sounding effects. So just to quickly overview everything, so the top here is where you have your grains, so this is where you add that granular synthesis, and then right here you have your transgate, right here you have your repeater, and then on this side right here you have your reverb, and then on the bottom right here you're able to route the signal flow of how you want it. So let's say you want the gate first and then the grains to effect, then you can do that, or you can swap it around. Really, however you want to do it, however you want to process it, which gives you the most control when sound designing with this plugin. So with the first melody that we had, this is what it sounds like. And then this is what it sounds like with the Motion Fractal plugin. It's pretty simple to understand once you start playing with it a little bit, but if you're not really in the mood to sound design your own effects with this plugin, then all you really have to do is just go to the presets right here. So you have a bunch of presets to play with, and what I did with this sound was I just wanted something rhythmic. So on the rhythmic section, I have this rhythm quarter hover right here, which is the preset that I had selected. So basically this is kind of how it works with the hexagon. This hexagon, you're able to link any parameter within the right side of this plugin. So as you can see, if I hover over something and it has this cross thing right here, you can click and drag to any point, and then when you drag it to the point, you can set the value. So as you can see here, when the hexagon moves up, you can see the mix knob moving up. So if I were to set the value to 100, this is what the loop would sound like with the value at 100. Okay, so that's like you're mixing in the mix knob right here to the transgate. So since I kind of got that rhythm effect, I didn't want the gate to be too dramatic. So when I clicked the mix knob right here, it brought up this window, and then I just dragged the mix down to about like 50%. So that way I could still get that movement within this sample, but not too distracting from the original lead. So the next thing I wanted to try this plugin out was on a simple pad sound. Pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy about that. But when I threw on this Motion Fractal plugin, this is the sound that I got. Again, I was just cycling through the presets and then I adjusted a few of the parameters, but the preset that I used for this sound on the pad was this atmospheric layer of sand. And this is an example of the grains being introduced. If I hover over any of these parameters on the bottom where it says grains 1 and 2, you can see the blue and the green dots, and those are the individual grains that are being generated. So with the grains, you're able to adjust also the pitch of the grains. But what I did was I pitched it up by 1 octave, and then this is what I got. So it just gives it more of that polished, pristine sound. After I did the lead and then I got the pads, then I wanted to hear what this Motion Fractal plugin sounded like on a lead atmospheric vocal. So with no plugins, this is what the choir sample sounded like. So again, pretty cool, but nothing too crazy. But then when I threw the effects on, this is what I got. So the panning is caused from a different plugin. I did use Pan Man because I just wanted it to pan left and right. That's the only little caveat I wanted to add here. But the actual like pumping sound of it, again, I went with the presets because I feel like that's like the easiest thing. Again, they have, I think, over like 250 different presets that you could choose from. And then once you understand what the parameters do, then you can adjust them. So like with this, it was doing some sort of pumping with the wet knob and the mix or whatever. So then I just basically changed the time here of the motion right here. And then with this vocal eerie swarm, it's just really doing like more of that gate sound. So I have it set to an 1/8 note. So that's the rate of the gate. And then you could choose how you want it to trigger right here and then adjust the mix knob here. So that's what I did with the gate on this plugin right here. So that's the processing on the vocal. And then I think this is my favorite processing so far. So this is where I like the sound the most, which is right here on this little synth that I used right here. So I got this synth from Electra X and then I copied the chords from the pad but just made them a little bit more rhythmic. So then if I take off all the effects, if I take off Motion Fractal, this is what it sounded like dry. It already sounds pretty cool, but again, since we're playing with this Motion Fractal plugin, this plugin really gives you the opportunity to create a bunch of different sounds. This is just like the tip of the iceberg, but with the Glitch synth, I went to Motion Fractal and then I went to Atmosphere and I went to Crystal Clouds. So again, this is introducing some grains and this is what it sounds like with the Motion Fractal plugin on. As you can hear, it adds like a bunch of these little glitchy textures. So to me, that sounds really dope. And then again, with the width, that makes the grains come in the left speaker, the right speaker. It just increases the probability of the grains being panned left or right. And as you can see, every time you change any parameter on this plugin, it reflects in the hexagon right here. So since you can see a lot of little like bits dancing around within the hexagon, that's how you know you have more grains. And then the more you use this plugin, the more you'll understand the different knobs make a different visual representation within the plugin, which is also a nice cool little feature. But yeah, let's just hear what everything sounds like put together with this Motion Fractal plugin turned on. Cool, so that is the Motion Fractal plugin. Again, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I just briefly went over it. It's not really a tutorial showing you how to use it. I'm just showcasing what you can do with it. And even then, I didn't really push this plugin to its maximum. It could do tons and tons more. Obviously, you can create your own presets, save your presets, use presets. I'm sure if more people start using the plugin, you could download presets online. It's fun. It's a very fun plugin. I really like it. And it's very, very affordable too. So for the price, I don't think it can be beat. From what I'm seeing online here, it's $40, and then you could even rent to own if needed. If you guys wanted to try a light version of this plugin, it's just like a stripped down version of what I showed you here. I have a code down below where you could go click download it for free and just test it out before you buy it. But even then, it's a really affordable plugin to get. So if you're a producer or even an engineer who dabbles in production a little bit, or you want to spice things up within your mixes, if you have the creative control to do that, then then I would most definitely consider getting this plugin. It's a really fun plugin to use, and I do recommend. Bow. So once again, that's Motion Fractal for you. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I'll be replying to you guys there, and be on the lookout for some more videos coming soon. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.